Good afternoon, and welcome to the virtual commencement ceremony of the Political Economy and Global Studies programs. I am Maximilian Aufheimer, Associate Dean of Social Sciences in the College of Letters and Science. I'm also your Master of Ceremonies for today, but I have to warn you, I'm an economist, I am German, and a dad. The jokes are going to be terrible. The past 15 months have maybe been the strangest, scariest, and frankly stressful days of our lives. The dream to come to Berkeley has become a reality for all of you. Unfortunately, the end of it, a virtual reality. I want to single out our transfer students who moved online basically after a single semester and never entered a physical classroom again. Further, we don't get to share this proud moment of commencement in person. The highlight of any year is when we watch you, dear graduates, walk across stage in Zellerbach with your finest kicks on display. But the most touching experience is seeing the bright stage lights reflected on the faces of those that got you here. I want to take a moment and acknowledge those people in your lives that made this moment possible. Whether it is a parent, multiple parents, Omi, abuelita, a sister, a brother, an aunt, a friend, a high school English teacher. They made this moment possible, and you proved them right. Their faith in you was well placed. If you are so lucky to watch this with your people, turn around and say thank you. We, the faculty, are so grateful that you entrusted us with the education of your graduate. We are immensely proud of them and cannot wait to see what's next. Today's speeches are about stories. We hope that you will continue to tell us yours as you walk ahead into this momentarily uncertain future with your head held high, your heart beaming, and your brilliant minds being put to work to bring about the light that must follow this darkness. Now, let me have some of my colleagues and some of your intellectual ancestors share some congratulatory words before we get to the awarding of the degrees.
Hi everyone, I'm Richard Ashcroft. I'm a lecturer in political economy and global studies. I wanted to be here to say congrats and say how impressed I am with everyone. The hard work that you've put in this year in really difficult circumstances was astonishing. I think we all know Berkeley is challenging at the best of times, and doing a Berkeley degree over Zoom, it just made everything much harder. You're in these really difficult majors. You have to be really good even to get into them, and they deal with these big sort of complex emotive topics that require a lot of intellectual and personal maturity, which I think you all demonstrated time and time again this year. So I think you should be really proud of what you achieved academically. But I think we all know that Berkeley isn't just about academic achievement, it's about something more important than that. And so in my view, there's like one unavoidable thing in human life. And that's one of the things that I think in some ways makes us human, which is that we're self-interpreting animals. We're constantly learning about ourselves and others through the world, interacting with the world around us and the people in it. The judgments we sort of come up with after that and what we do about it are up for grabs, but make no mistake, anyone who's ever lived has engaged in this process of sort of learning and questioning and judging. And they may have done it unconsciously or infrequently or ignorantly or dishonestly or just plain badly, but they have done it. And in the end, the important choice is whether we take the time and effort to engage in this process properly, or whether we just slide through life without really thinking about things at a deeper level. And what makes you so special is that you made a hard choice, which was to try and understand the world around you to the best of your ability so that you can make a better place to live, not just for yourselves, but for all of us. And to do that, you need much more than just intelligence and hard work, which you have shown, as I say, time after time, but you need curiosity, empathy, insight, and kindness. And you all have that. And that's what makes you and these programs so special. It's the thing that really blows me away and makes me realize how lucky I am every time I get in a classroom with you, even if it's a virtual one. So I suppose I say, please don't stop thinking and analyzing and questioning and caring and disagreeing with me or others, no matter how much life gets in the way, which it frequently does and certainly did this year. So honestly, I've learned so much from all of you. And I think the world really needs people like you right now. And I can't wait to see what you make of it. So congratulations to the class of 2021. Go do something great.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Peter Bartu, Global Studies, and I teach global governance and international organizations, contemporary Middle East politics, and research methods and critical thinking. I wanted to wish you all the very best today on your special graduation. Good luck beyond. I'm sure that each and every one of you will thrive. But I wanted to make a special call out to the parents. Some of you have been hosting your students unexpectedly for the last 14 months, and you've certainly played your part in all of this. More importantly, I wanted to thank you for lending us your bright young adults for the past 4 years. Anyone who knows teaching and research knows this is a two-way street. And I can assure you, we've learned just as much from your children as they've hopefully learned from us. But once again, and to wish you all the best on your special day, have a fabulous summer, and please keep in touch moving forward. Thank you.
Graduates, congratulations. What a gift to be able to mark this time of accomplishment with you. I know it's been a very difficult and unusual year, but I'm so proud of you graduates for the study and the work that you've done over the past several years while completing your degrees. I have enjoyed getting to know you in the classroom as well as on Zoom, and we've seen how you've supported each other through this difficult time, as well as friends and family. It shows us your true character, something that will stay with me forever. I'm humbled and honored to have spent this time with you on your learning journey. You've proven that you are ready for anything that life throws at you. With the awarding of this degree, each of you is commissioned to lead us through the most important challenges of today and the future. I know that you have the expertise, the competency, knowledge, and compassion to lead us through COVID-19 and beyond. Your character has proven that. I know that each of you will change the world in your own unique way. And certainly you've learned things here, but each of you has taught us things too, and changed us for the better. Thank you for that. This place won't be the same without you, and I'll miss you. We can't wait to see all the ways in which you put your mark on your future communities and use the power of education to climb even higher while working for social change and justice. Good luck to you, graduates. I'll miss you, and stay in touch.
Congratulations, class of 2021. I'm Crystal Chang Cohen. It has been my honor and pleasure to be your teacher. I know the past year of remote learning has been tumultuous and trying, to say the least. But I've been incredibly impressed by how you've persevered to the finish line. You have done what at times I know has felt impossible, but you made it. And now you're about to embark on the next exciting chapter of your lives, stronger and more resilient. I hope the global studies and political economy programs have taught and encouraged you to think critically and compassionately about the world around you, to identify and challenge assumptions, even when they are your own, and to find and employ your own voice. The future is what you make of it. Don't be afraid to take risks. And remember to be nimble, humble, and never to stop learning. Please stay in touch.
Congratulations, class 2021. My name is Yo-Tian Xing. I'm the chair of Global Studies in the Faculty of Geography. In the last 15 months in college has been challenging, to say the least, for you. But many signs tell me that we can be cautiously optimistic about a post-pandemic normalcy. I'm eager to go back to campus, to the theaters, to hang out with my friends at a normal distance. I want to go back to all these normal and wonderful things. But there are quite a few things I do not wish to go back to. Gun violence, racial and gender injustice, and fracking, just to name a few. So I'm counting on you. Now that you have successfully completed 4 years of college education in one of the best universities in the world, I know that you will go out there with your knowledge, with your commitment and energy to help build a new and better normal. Congratulations, class 2021.
Hello there, class of 2021. Congratulations on your graduation. I am Steve Vogel. I am chair of the Political Economy program, and it's my honor to be able to congratulate you on this incredible achievement. You are graduating from the very best programs at the world's greatest university at probably the worst possible time. It's been a tough year this past year. We have really missed you, not being able to have our classes in person. I've enjoyed getting to know many of you, partly in person before March of last year, some of you only virtually, but it's been a pleasure to work with you. We really are excited to see where you go from here. Unfortunately, our world faces a lot of pretty grave problems. Obviously, the pandemic, the economy, climate change, the existential challenge of our times, social justice. But I am confident that you are going to be part of the solution to the problems that we face today. And I would like to think that your training in political economy or in your other associated majors has been a part of what will help you to meet those challenges. So congratulations once again, and go Bears.
Well, hello, Global Studies class of 2021. I can't believe we're here, and I can't believe we're not here because, well, we're on Zoom. I think we can all agree this has been one of the most surreal years ever. But I think we're going to make it. We're going to make it through. So I just want to say a couple of short phrases to you to leave you with, and here they are. The first one is, things can only get better. That's the good news. The fact that we've been through all of this means that everything that comes after this, as we come out of this pandemic, means that, well, we're going to appreciate everything that much more. We're not going to take anything for granted, and that's a wonderful way to live. And if you're thinking, wow, this guy's way too much of an optimist, here's the second thing I want to share with you. How do I know things are going to get better? Because of you. You have made it through such a difficult time, and that is something that you should give yourself credit for. It's absolutely amazing. And if you can make it through this, you can make it through everything. And I know things will get better because you will make them that way. I look forward to seeing everywhere you go. I look forward to seeing all the things you do. And I want to know all the things you do because I want you to keep in touch. Tomorrow, next week, 3 years from now, whenever you ever feel like keeping in touch, please do send me a message. Always love to hear from you. So for now, Zook out. And I wish you all the very best. Good luck and take good care.
I'm Alan Karras, the Associate Director of the Interdisciplinary Social Science Programs and a former instructor of some of the unlucky graduates. I too want to offer my congratulations to all who are graduating, along with their families and friends. Before introducing the student speaker, I want to give you all a little history lesson because it's what I do. You might have heard some familiar music playing at the start of today's ceremony. It is frequently called Pomp and Circumstance. That music was written by Edward Elgar, the British composer, and was first heard at a graduation at Yale in 1905, when Elgar received an honorary degree. He had absolutely no idea that it would be adopted on this side of the Atlantic as the commencement music of choice. It is not used outside North of America for reasons that will soon become clear. The lyrics to the piece are very well known in England, where it is a kind of national anthem. It is referred to as the land of hope and glory. And it is imperialist, which many of the graduates here might have some pretty defined views about. Some years ago, on a research trip to London, I heard and saw this piece performed at a very kitschy concert and light show that some friends dragged me to in the Royal Albert Hall. If you bought a program to this event, and I did not, you also received 2 Union Jack flags to wave as you sang the song with cannons being fired around the auditorium. I saw thousands of people take out these flags, wave them around, and sing the lyrics. Here's a sample. Land of hope and glory, mother of the free, how shall we extol thee who are born of thee? Wider still and wider shall thy bounds be set. God, who made thee mighty, make thee mightier yet. In North America, we are never taught the words, which is unfortunate, especially in this day and age. Extolling empire and all that it entails is not something that most of us do on a regular basis. So I will leave you with a question to ponder, which is also what I do. What does it mean that graduates across North America process to this song in 2021? How does context matter in this case? History lesson complete. Now it is time to introduce our student speaker, who this year is Summar Khan. Summar is graduating from UC Berkeley with a degree in political economy and minors in public policy and Spanish. She spent the last year writing an honors thesis about a unilateral policy change in Kashmir and its impact on the transportation industry. Outside of class, you might find Summar catching up with friends on the glade on a sunny day or on the hunt for the best iced oat milk latte in Berkeley. She told me to tell you it's a caffeinated coffee company. Summar will be moving to Austin after graduation, where she'll be working as a financial analyst. She hopes to return to school to study law. Summar?
Hello, and congratulations to my fellow graduates. And thank you to the professors, friends, and family who have supported us and helped us get to this place. On the day of our graduation, I want us to consider all of the opportunities that our degrees, whether in political economy or global studies, have given us to make an impact on the world as we take the first steps into our futures. To do so, I need to tell you a little about myself. My parents are immigrants from Kashmir, a disputed territory between India and Pakistan. My dad immigrated to America when he was a young child with my grandparents. Oftentimes, when people immigrate to America, they feel pressure to assimilate and forego some of their culture. My family was the opposite. As soon as you walk into my grandparents' house in Los Angeles, you are immediately transported to Kashmir. The couches are covered in handmade silk shawls, the walls adorned with photographs of the family and friends they left behind, and my grandparents are always ready to pile more food on your plate, even after you said you were already full. You all probably have grandparents who do that too. My grandma showed a level of compassion and service to anyone she ever met who was Kashmiri that most would only reserve for their own children. My grandpa's library is filled with books written about Kashmir, describing its people, economy, politics, and history. I learned before the age of 13 never to tell my mom I was bored, otherwise she would hand me a stack of books and tell me to start reading. Little did I know she was training me for Berkeley syllabi all along. Growing up in this environment, I was empowered to be curious and question what was presumed to be natural or normal. I was also taught to be proud of who I am and learned at a young age how powerful that knowledge is. I grew up in New York, in a predominantly white neighborhood. It was often difficult to deal with the questions other kids would ask me about my Muslim identity, ethnicity, or family background. Through my family's strong connection to our culture, I felt comfortable with who I was and knew that a whole community of people like me were out there, outside of my family. I chose Berkeley for this sense of community. I knew at Berkeley that students embrace each other's differences. I knew that was the place I wanted to be. But when I got to Berkeley, the many academic options and intellectual curiosities of my classmates were overwhelming. After dabbling in a few intro classes, when picking my major, I turned to my roots. I thought of my grandparents who still live in Kashmir and my other set who brought as much of Kashmir with them to America as they could. Because of the difficult political situation in Kashmir that they live through, that I have seen while visiting, I chose my degree in political economy. After learning about how this degree explores both the political and economic aspects of government and power, I knew this course of study would give me a well-rounded understanding of the causes and symptoms of current conflicts and societal issues. And I was right. With this major, I even had the opportunity to write a thesis about Kashmir throughout this year. We all have unique backgrounds and perspectives that drove us to either global studies or political economy, both degrees that ultimately ask and empower us to gain a better understanding of the world. Our degrees allow us graduates to understand just how society and power function together. Now more than ever, as a generation confronted with crises and new ideas of progress, these skills are critical and these questions are even more important. I have met some of the most passionate and intellectual people at Berkeley through this course of study. We've bonded over reading Marx and Smith, maybe a few too many times. We've even managed to get through 3 Zoom semesters together, though we probably would have learned more if anyone actually spoke in a breakout room. Nevertheless, we all have different sparks that excited us about our degrees, and now we finally get to take steps into the next chapter of our lives and apply what we've learned. Despite the excitement of graduation, this has been a difficult year. My grandma passed away in December. She was sick for a few years, but would always tell me that she wanted to make it to my college graduation. Today, I'm thinking of her, just as the rest of us graduates are thinking of all that we lost this year and reflecting on what might have been. But even so, at the same time, our graduation is a time to celebrate our resiliency. We are graduating with a hopeful end in sight to the pandemic that has taken away from our college experience. We have, in our college years, seen the effects of political tensions, a global climate crisis, and how deeply entrenched systemic racism is in America. We all have developed critical understandings of society that will help us going forward so that we can use our degrees for good. Despite the vast array of careers ahead of us, I hope that we can all give back and pay homage to the various sparks and backgrounds that got us interested in political economy or global studies in the first place. Berkeley has instilled in all of us the importance of service and taught us that we have a responsibility to use our education for the betterment of others. I know I will continue this by applying what I've read and giving back to the Kashmiri community, just like my grandparents have. Through this pandemic, we have all learned that no matter how tough the situation may be, we can persevere through. Upon graduating, I'm reflecting about how precious our time at Berkeley has been. I'm going to miss running into friends around campus or showing up to class after Berkeley time with an iced coffee. I'll miss trying to find a seat at any library during Dead Week. I know we will all be grateful for these little moments going forward. We are leaving Berkeley hopeful for our futures and determined to be a force for good. I hope that I will make my grandma proud. I hope we are all thinking of our loved ones and who we would like to make proud today and every day. Congratulations on reaching this day. Now it's time to celebrate.
Thank you, Summar. We are truly honored today to have Professor Richard Buxbaum as our commencement speaker, and we are all in for a treat. Professor Buxbaum is the Jackson Ralston Professor of International Law. He attended Cornell University for his undergraduate and first law degree while completing his legal studies at Berkeley in 1953. He's had a storied legal career, in addition to his teaching one. After graduating from Berkeley, he practiced law in Rochester, New York, as well as the U.S. Army, and developed an expertise in comparative law. He returned to Berkeley Law to join the faculty in 1961. Professor Buxbaum served as one of the 5 defense counsel in the criminal proceedings against the 773 members of the free speech movement from 1964 to 1967. He also represented various campus organizations and individuals in cases arising out of Vietnam War protests. Moreover, he served as defense counsel in a large number of criminal proceedings that accompanied the Third World Strike of 1969 to 1970, which was a factor in the development of affirmative action programs for student admissions on the campus. He was appointed honorary professor of law at Peking University, holds honorary degrees across the world. In 1992, he received the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation Award for Humanities and Arts. Professor Buxbaum is a member of the Council on Foreign Affairs, the American Law Institute, and was elected to the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 2001. But all of this is not the only, or perhaps the main reason that he was chosen as our commencement speaker today. He was instrumental in the creation and operation of our programs because he served as their second dean. While he was dean, the campus expanded its international studies footprint, moving the teaching and research sides of the program into a single building, Stevens Hall. His vision put internationally focused programs right at the center of campus. He was a dean with a vision, and much of what we have built since his deanship continues to bear his intellectual stamp. There are moments in all of our lives where we get to have a coffee with a stranger that changes the way we think, sometimes about the world, but often about ourselves. I had such a coffee with Professor Buxbaum. He embodies the best of Berkeley, a brilliant mind, a laser-sharp focus, and a big heart, plus a truly wonderful appreciation of German baked goods, which I share. Here's Professor Richard Buxbaum.
Dear graduates, you have completed your undergraduate studies by focusing on my favorite interdisciplinary degree category, one whose fascination is only matched by its challenges. And judging by the example your class speaker presented, you have succeeded in applying this curriculum to work on truly important social, political, and cultural issues. In fact, Summar Khan's talk coincidentally resonated with me directly. About a quarter century ago, I developed and co-taught a course on the Kashmir conflicts, their histories, and their tragically frozen nature. I note from her presentation that the hope a Kashmiri solution might arise from below, as it were, remains only that, a hope. And yet, as Summar reflected on this history within the intimate arena of a family history, a familiar trope was almost magically renewed and refreshed. And I want to use this occasion to consider it. It is the meshing of the personal and the social. In other words, the joining of the channel of memory and the channel of history. So let me begin with a banal point, and yet for your future and that of your descendants, not a trivial one. So here's the first part of the story. My mother-in-law, a German woman born in 1912, started keeping a daily journal when she graduated from her primary school in 1922, after fourth grade, and, a rare event for a girl of that era, moved out of the path that would have brought her into the workforce 4 years later, and instead went on to what was called the academic track, graduating after 13 years of primary and secondary schooling in 1931 at the age of 19. While the boys who joined that track would go on to college, she, like most girls, did not. Instead, she married in 1934 at age 22. By then, she had made daily entries in her diary for 10 years. They were routine and banal, down to daily weather, meals, including their digestion, what siblings and friends were doing, and so forth. But consider the era. Even in her small town, a new order, soon a new disorder, began to intrude. Marches, street battles between reds and brown shirts, ever more demanding and disturbing exhortations, until in the 9th year of her diary that new order arose, or better said, erupted. She was delighted, not frightened. She willingly joined, as most did, though a few less willingly, the Bund Deutsche Mädchen, the League of German Girls, the female version of the Hitler Youth. And from then on, the diary, and I read most of it, also became a record of history. True, at the same time, all this, recorded with an ever more woke pen, remained interwoven with daily notes of the weather, the food, the Sunday visits to the relatives. Then the war arrived. She and her young family were bombed out of their Frankfurt apartment. Her husband was reported missing in action, but in 1945 recorded as a prisoner of war in the Soviet Union. He returned in 1949, allowing their true post-war life with their 4 children finally to begin. And it hardly needs to be said, the daily diary by now had transmuted itself into a historical document. It shared only one, but a critical feature with the justifiably famous diaries of the Jewish writer Walter Klemperer, in that it was written in the moment, not as a memoir in retrospect. And that is an issue I will return to in a moment. In my family's case, Jewish father, religiously indifferent Christian mother, history is archaeology. Since the paternal history disappeared in the abyss by 1945, how could it be recovered? My father saw the irony well. When the old folks were still around and could transmit what they knew of the family history, the children were not interested. When they became interested, there was no one left to ask. That is an old and common story, whose moral, by the way, is perfectly suited for use as a graduation address. Be interested now, while there still is someone around you can ask. Otherwise, and that was my father's fate, you dig out what you can of the past and at best create a secondhand memoir, which presents only secondhand and often dubious memories. So in that context, let me turn to the famous remark of the English Marxist historian Eric Hobsbawm, and I understand from Alan Carus that some of you had read him, namely that between every lived experience and the cold record of history, there is a twilight zone between history and memory, and an important addition, between history as a cold, though always contestable record, and memory as the background to one's own ongoing life. As Hobsbawm seems to imply, that twilight zone, or no man's land, is the hardest zone for anyone to grasp. And that is in large part because the overlay that ongoing life places on the original impact of the lived event almost inevitably colors, distorts the true, and I put that in quotes, memory. In that case, during that twilight period, are fading memory and emergent history allies or rivals? To that issue, I can provide a real anecdote. In the early 2000s, a conference was held here in Berkeley at which a couple of the surviving widows of the men executed after their failed 1944 assassination attempt on Hitler were guests of honor. Excuse me. After they spoke of the horrible events of that month, the German historian Hans Mommsen took the floor, and to our great embarrassment, said that every contemporaneous witness should be interviewed once and then, only figuratively, of course, silenced. He actually said shot. Most historians, including Hobsbawm, are gentler. They accept the unreliability of oral history, but they also accept its necessary correction of the claims of the objective, again in quotes, record-studying latecomers. So where does that leave us, leave you? Well, I can affirm from personal experience that memory alone is a weak reed to rely on. 50 years ago, after I graduated from Cornell University and returned to the big reunion, I decided to look up my course and grade records. They were still there in the deteriorating files of the registrar's office. It was a shock. Courses I was convinced I had taken were missing from the record. Courses recorded there I had absolutely no recollection of having taken. How had botany gotten in there, and where was that advanced microeconomics course that I must have taken? And that was only the courses. The recollection of grades was even worse. I had been a student of Nabokov's and distinctly remember my pleasure at the grade I got. Well, it turned out that all 8 of us in the seminar had received the same grade, and there went my memory of a special status. I won't say what that grade was, except he was a notoriously easy grader, much to the annoyance of his colleagues in Comp Lit, who competed with him for the proverbially small number of students enrolled in these non-essential, quote, courses. Should remind us all of the STEM and humanities battle. And so I returned to my late mother-in-law. With her kind of diary, you can safely bet on the fact that it had rained on January 22, 2022, when you are challenged on that fact in 2052. You may also learn that the name of the neighbor's dog you clearly recalled as King Tut actually had been Bowser. And on a more serious note, your great-grandchildren or your more collateral descendants, whoever they may be, once they are old enough to wish they had asked you directly while you were still around, will still find more of the past open to them than their own parents originally had personally experienced, but later lost or distorted during that notorious Twilight Zone. Above all, you may learn something about the true concept of time. You may learn that the floods that finally submerged the eastern seaboard's islands had occurred not in 2040, but already in 2030. Pardon me. And you would remark to your friends that time sure flies. And that objective fact, that the same time that stretched out so luxuriously as you looked ahead, recedes at hurricane speed when you look back at it, that fact may be the best reason to keep your daily notebook at hand. Not only to write in it daily, but to read and reread it occasionally, and to start that reading fairly soon after the writing. It will have a salutary and calming effect on your sense of time's passage, and therefore on your sense of comfort at being embedded in the continuing present. For now, at the age of 22, you should not yet have a sense of the finitude of time. But at some point, especially as you emerge from playing with the many, many potential pathways and opportunities still ahead of you, time will come to feel like a resource subject to depletion. But if I have any right to give advice, even in this commencement speech context, let me also say that this is no reason to live as if you need to stay in whatever channel you by then find yourself in. The playwright Bertolt Brecht, in the wonderful opera, The 7 Deadly Sins of the Bourgeoisie, I recommend it to you. He had the parents tell the daughter, quote, "Don't enjoy your youth because it will not last," unquote. What he was really saying, of course, was that you should savor risks even when nothing is certain except the passage of time. So let time be a gentle, not a strict teacher, whatever the epoch may serve up. And see to it that at least your lived memories, whether those of your predecessors are available or not, are recorded for your pleasure and for the eventual appreciation of your successors. In that way, the memory of experiences and the history of those experienced events becomes one, and that's as it should be. Thank you for listening.
Now we will recognize a number of our graduates who, through their hard work, have earned special awards. We will start with the Departmental Citations. The Departmental Citation was initiated in 1955 by the Berkeley Committee on Prizes. Yes, we have a Committee on Prizes. We all have a Committee on Committees. This prestigious award honors excellence in the departmental field of study. Recipients are chosen because of unusual talents and promise, outstanding grades, distinctive work in their major, and contributions to the department. Only one student from each major may receive the award each year, and not every major makes an award each year. The chairs of the two majors will now make the awards.
On behalf of Political Economy, I now present the Departmental Citation to Jake Parker Allen. Congratulations.
Wow. Thank you very much, Professor Vogel. I'm extremely honored to get this award. Certainly been a crazy ride. Coming from New Zealand, spending 2 years in New York, transferring to Berkeley. Political economy definitely spoke to me, I would say. It definitely was the intersection I was looking for between, the more history and sociology and the more quantitative economics. And it's been just a crazy ride. I wouldn't change it for anything, and I'm extremely honored to finish my studies with this award. So thank you very much.
On behalf of Global Studies, I now present the Departmental Citation to Yahya Abuzaid.
Thank you so much. This is an immense honor, and I'm very thankful and humbled to be presented this award. I want to thank this department, Global Studies, for presenting it to me. It means so much to know that the people I've spent the last 2 years, being mentored by, growing in this department, in this field as a person, that you guys see this in me, and I am forever grateful for that. And I want to thank, in particular, Professor Bartu for being my advisor for my thesis and helping me since day one. Professor Karanjot for always engaging with me in courses and helping me outside of class. And Professor Ballinger for encouraging me to pursue the honors thesis and always engaging with me during office hours, despite the constant conversations I want to have. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to my family. And I'm truly honored to be here. Thank you.
Professor Ballinger will now recognize the honors class.
This is a bit of a novel graduation ceremony, since I don't get to congratulate the members of this year's honors cohort in person. I think it is important to celebrate all of our students' achievements. But there are 10 students with whom I've worked for the better part of the year now, who deserve a bit of special recognition for taking on a task that most find daunting in the best of circumstances. It is fairly well known that our program is among the most rigorous and demanding undergraduate honors programs at Berkeley. Students have to meet a very high GPA requirement just to qualify. And then they devote a substantial portion of their senior year to mastering interdisciplinary research methods and writing a substantial paper based on original research. This is no small thing. Our students often develop a thesis that their faculty mentors describe as equivalent to the ones written by master's students. And while we are always pleased that our students are willing to challenge themselves and take on a project of this magnitude during their final 2 semesters here, I will only add that this has been a year like no other. And I think it makes their achievements all the more deserving of recognition. This is my chance to thank them for giving me the opportunity to work with them, to learn from their endeavors, and to acknowledge the significant challenges they confronted and overcame throughout this year-long process. So this is my special thanks, my shout out to Danielle Kay, Eliza Hollingsworth, Yahya Abuzaid, Anna Saselsky, Jake Parker Allen, Farah Nanji, Summar Khan, Amen Dosange, Will Bogdan, and Harjot Dinsa. Thank you for producing some excellent work. You all came a very, very long way. And I hope you can enjoy this moment, celebrate with family and friends, and accept our appreciation for and acknowledgement of your significant achievement. So congratulations to the honors thesis class of 2021. Well done, all of you. And now we have a special prize, which is the winner of this year's Outstanding Thesis Award. This year, we selected for special recognition Danielle Dassa Kay's thesis titled Livelihoods in Crisis, Threats to Senegal's Artisanal Fishing Communities. Danielle did superb work on this project. She analyzed the multiple factors that have combined to contribute to the recent and rapid decline of fish stocks in Senegal. She looked at the impact of this decline on fishing communities and the responses of community members and activists. Her thesis was thoroughly researched, original, insightful, and theoretically sophisticated. So I hope you will join me in congratulating Danielle as the winner of 2021's Outstanding Thesis Prize. Well-deserved, Danielle. I'm thrilled for you, absolutely thrilled.
Thank you so much, Professor Ballinger. It's an honor to receive this award. And I think just looking back on this past year, it's been academically challenging, of course, but I think being a part of the Global Studies honors class has really given me a sense of purpose and allowed me to explore an issue that I care deeply about and has really helped me acquire skills I'll use throughout my future studies and throughout my career. So thank you very much, Professor Ballinger. And I also want to thank Professor Claudia Carr, who was my advisor on this research project. And congratulations to the other students in the Global Studies honors class this year. I really enjoyed reading all of your writing drafts and learned so much from your research as well. So thank you so much. I really appreciate this award.
And now for those degrees. We will first award 6 master's degrees in our 4th cohort of the Global Studies Master's Program. This is a 1-year degree program that we have developed and refined over the past 5 years. The program allows students to get a master's degree in only a year while broadening their horizons by engaging with a region through the lens of the social sciences. Imagine doing a 1-year program during a pandemic. Well, this group doesn't have to because they did, and they can tell you all about it. We would ordinarily ask these students to come to the front of the stage to be hooded, but instead I will read their names. Linda Haberlach, Matt Harvey, Lisa Robinson, Abibat Raman Davies, Sarah Rohrschneider, and Hannah So. In a normal year, we would now proceed to the handing out of degrees, or rather fake degrees, rolled into scrolls that simply thank you for participating in graduation. But this year, I'm afraid we are going to have to skip that. Instead, we will have personalized Zoom rooms where you can go live to speak to specific faculty members you like. Those links were emailed to you yesterday, so please check your inbox. You're about to become alumni of this great institution. Before you become alumni yourself, a couple of our advisory board members have recorded public service messages for you.
Hello, I'm Brett Rosen, graduating class of 1995 in political economy. And I want to congratulate the graduating class of 2021 for all your achievements. I've supported the department over the last couple of years as a member of the Alumni Board for Political Economy. And one thing I will tell you as you move forward is that the Cal logo is recognized throughout the world. I've said "Go Bears" to other people wearing Cal paraphernalia in the monuments of Cambodia. I've even given a Cal baseball cap to the ex-president of Brazil. And as you move forward in life, you will see that the Berkeley emblem and the Cal degree opens doors and is recognizable worldwide, which will give you a great chance to leverage the education and knowledge that you've garnered over the last several years. I encourage you to take risks. I encourage you to explore the world. I encourage you to broaden your horizons and use this degree that you've earned to achieve great things as you move forward. It's been a difficult time during the pandemic. You've overcome a lot of obstacles, as we all have in all types of life. But I think that that is also going to prepare you for all the adventures that lie ahead of you. So again, congratulations and well done, class of 2021.
Hello, and congratulations to the Political Economy and Global Studies graduating class of 2021. My name is Zachary Kruth. I was a member of the 2007 graduating class in Political Economy. A few things have happened since then, but I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to be congratulating you on what I'm sure was quite an accomplishment over the past 12 months and over the previous 4 years. The day I graduated, my father read a piece to me from Teddy Roosevelt, and I've always enjoyed it. I thought I'd share it with you today, as it's something that stuck with me ever since that afternoon in 2007. It's called The Man in the Arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong one stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the one who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends themselves in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if they fail, at least fails while daring greatly, so that their place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. I always love that quote. I think it's one of those things that, reminded me that no matter what else is going on in the world, to just figure out how to persevere, and that I would have great triumphs and I would also have great defeats. And that what really mattered was that I stayed in the arena and that I kept moving forward. And I've always liked it. Maybe it's meaningful to you, maybe it's not. But the one thing that I do know is I'm very excited to see what you are going to do with your Cal education and a world that really needs your help and is very excited to have you become an active part of it. So congratulations once again. I look forward to watching from afar and seeing what you're going to do.
All right, dear students, this is the moment you've been waiting for. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the President and the Chancellor, I grant you the degrees of Bachelor of Arts in Development Studies, Peace and Conflict Studies, Global Studies, and Political Economy, as well as the Master of Arts in Global Studies. Students, you may now move your real ones, if you've got them, or virtual tassels from right to left. Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody.
This is the end of our commencement ceremony. I wanted to take a moment to thank the people who made this possible, especially Joan Cass, the director of our programs, and Alan Karras, who didn't only teach you about the theories underlying political economy and world history, but also served as the executive producer of this commencement and spent a lot of time recording everything you've just watched. Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Alan. And I also wanted to thank our colleagues from ETS who produced this video and made it just so beautiful. Thank you very much. If you watched this live, please join faculty members in their respective Zoom rooms. If you're watching this at a later date, unfortunately, that option is not available. So thank you for spending time with us and celebrating you. We are also proud of you and look forward to seeing you or hearing about and from you in the future. Best of luck. Even though this is the formal end of our commencement, and I don't know how many of you are in the habit of watching the credits after the movie is over, we're about to play maybe the most meaningful credits you will ever see in your life. We're going to scroll through the names of all of our graduates. So sit back, look for your name, and cheer loudly when your name comes across the screen. It's not a true replacement for the moment where you walk across stage, but it is a moment that we should acknowledge. Thank you for those of you who are going to watch these credits.